Hello and welcome! So, the time has come to pick up this book once again and go analyze everything that went wrong, all the information I have gleaned from the read through, and figure out the ways to fix it. So, that is the agenda for the next 10 days because I want to get to drafting and fixing it by the beginning of November. Task 1 on my agenda is filling out the reverse outline. I have started on this previously, but as you can see I have only got to maybe chapter 20 in filling it out. Then there is this big space of nothing. I got back to it at the end of Act 2. And then in the last several chapters I completely abandoned trying to fill it out. And so I have a very incomplete picture in here. So I can actually look at it and analyze it from a bird's eye view, because the read-through was nice, but the read-through was really focusing on each chapter. This one gives me a show of the whole book, and so that should be more telling as to where the issues actually lie, and maybe give me ideas how to fix them. I do not know, but we shall see. Well, it appears my reverse outline is now all filled out, and so I can finally get to analyzing all of this and figuring out every single thing that is wrong with this. And there is a lot. Someone save me. Well, hello. It is Wednesday, 6 p.m. and I finally have done the full list of everything that is wrong with this book. And there is quite a lot. And I'm not happy about that. Not at all. Actually, it scares me, because this will be so much more work to fix than I was expecting it to be, and that's not a great place to be. So, yeah, I am kind of doubting myself and my ability to do stuff, because I knew the first draft had issues, and I knew it had like good points, but now it feels like it's worse than I was expecting it to be. And as I said, I do not like that. I do not like that at all. And I would love to avoid being in this place if I could, but that's not possible. So here we are, and it needs fixing. There's nothing else to it, it needs fixing. And so what is actually wrong with this book? Well, everything. So where to start? Probably with the biggest issues, which is 1. Structure, 2. Characters. So I have already yapped enough about the issue with the midpoint and Act 1. So I will kind of sort of skip over that and just say that I have figured out what to do with Act 1 and how to fix that. That one is solid, that one is fine, somewhat. Despite being the oldest and the writing not being good, structurally it's doing well, with the additional events that I want to add into it that are already written. I just want to classify them as Act 1 from now on. What happens after in Act 2 is the problem, because the issue with Act 2 is specificity and showing versus telling, but like on a big scale. So this is a political fantasy. So the politics and actually what is going on should be on the page, but it's not. It is said that, oh, the characters met with someone, oh, they discussed this and that, and oh, they garnered support. What did they do? How did they do it? What funding did they get? Who is supporting them? Who knows? What is the actual thing that they did? And how is it helping them with the support? Nobody knows. I don't know. Reader doesn't know. Probably the characters themselves don't know either. So this is a big issue that needs to be fixed, specifically in Act 2, because that then makes the twist and the ending of Act 3 feel unearned. Very much so. There is also the issue with the ending being a bit rushed, but that's a different sort of issue that just needs fleshing out. Act 2 needs like full-on restructuring and adding a lot of points and actions and everything like that. So I have some bits of that figured out and some not. That's the task for the next 2 days. Figured out what political stuff I want to include, what specific things, and how to do that. Because when I went into this book, I had an outline, but it was a very loose outline, and I was thinking that I will figure it out as I go. Well, I did not. At least not to the point it needs to be figured out. And so then I was like, oh, I will fix it later. Later is now, and I still don't have an idea, and it needs fixing. So here we are. The other problem is with the characters. For Aurora, who is the queen in this situation, the political and plot stuff is doing well. That is fine, detracting from what I said. And the issue with her is that her actual character arc is a bit nebulous. I know what it's supposed to be, but if I just went off of my reverse outline and reading the book, I would have absolutely zero idea what her arc is supposed to be in this book. It's not, I wouldn't say it's not there. It's there, but in a way that's confusing, very confusing. So her character arc needs to be made more sharp and specific. The other character, Peter, who is the prince and Aurora's nephew, he has the other issue. His character arc is there and doing well, but it's not as tied to the bigger plot as it should be, and so even though his arc is doing well, it doesn't feel like it's hitting because it feels like it's distracting from the bigger story and not building up properly. So he needs to be integrated into the plot a little bit more and thus added agency. Because that's other issue. Not that he doesn't have any agency, it just feels like he's not interested in driving the story forward. And that's a big no-no. So that's the two big issues. There are some other issues. Well, as I said, the politics, but that kind of ties into the structure, so that can be skipped over, or skipped over, but it will be fixed with the structure. The other issues are, one, internality of the characters, they are not thinking properly. Two, lack of descriptions. You cannot tell what the setting looks like, or, well, you can, but it's very vague. And three, the tone of the characters. But those three are they can be fixed later. That's not the big story stuff that needs to be fixed in a developmental edit. That can wait for draft 3, and I would wager it will improve on its own during draft 2, because I have improved as a writer since I have started writing this book. Well, 3 years ago, but mostly 10 years ago. So that is the rundown of the issues. And I would like to say that I am ready to start basically re-outlining the book. And I wanted to do it today, but doesn't look likely, because I know I said it's only 6 p.m, but because of the time change, and so it's dark at 4:30 now, and my sickness from the last 3 weeks, I don't know, it's just been hitting me so hard. I feel like it's already 9 p.m. and I'm so drained, and I still have to study for my midterm for tomorrow. So we will see if I manage to get any more book work done. I still need to cobble the dogs, or at least do some form of exercise, because I haven't done really any sort of workout since I got sick 3 weeks ago. And that's not good. That's probably adding to the issues with my lacking energy. The good part is I am thinking about going ice skating tomorrow as a treat for successfully surviving the exam. Well, it is Thursday evening, and after like 3 hours of brainstorming to the point my head is steaming, I have figured out the answers of how to fix most of the stuff. And it scares me because like half of it is completely new material that can throw a curveball into the entirety of Act 2 and complicates things quite a lot and is very difficult to execute correctly. Not to mention, I don't think I have every single answer of how to implement that change. Isn't it funny when you are smart enough to figure out like new and interesting ideas, but not smart enough to take them to their finish line? And still, the politics are like wonky in places. I'm not really sure what to do with all of it, but I have figured out some parts, and like a little bit embarrassing that it is this difficult for me, considering I have a degree in international politics, and I should know this. And I guess applying this to a fictional fantasy country is a different matter, but still, it shouldn't be this hard. Why is it this hard? Hopefully, I have cracked it and figured out what's going on. I have decided to add a new, not fully subplot, but like change part of the plot to a spy story, sort of. Still have a million questions, but that idea is strong and solid. And yes, it's one of those where, yes, it's completely worth it and will make the story better, but also difficult. And it adds a million and other questions of how to tie it all together. Anyway, so now that I have all of that, it is time to move to my, I can't even say whiteboard, I would say wall, but anyway, pulling out the sticky notes and piecing it all together as a cohesive outline. So hopefully that will help. And seeing it all visualized with concrete steps. Yes, as I said, I'm currently trying to figure out where to even put the sticky notes, because my usual place for them is now taken over by my map of the EU. So that's not going to work. I'm not taking that down. The floor is kind of dangerous with all the animals that I have, and so all of my other walls are not empty. That's a dilemma, but hopefully I will figure something out. And so that's it for now, and I will update you when I start doing the sticky note outline. Okay, so here we have the bare bones of the outline of how it is now. Act 2 here ends too early, and then midpoint is too early. Then there is this big gap, and here we have the break into 3, and then a little bit until the end. This is very unbalanced. Okay, what is going to happen is this. So this needs to be moved more into the middle. And this. So then the Fermis Festival becomes the end of Act 1. And the mage battle that was somewhere in the middle, second half of Act 2, is now becoming the midpoint. And this just needs to be fleshed out somehow. That will give a little more balanced structure. And so now it's the time to fill it out with the actual plot beats and smaller things that are happening, not just the skeleton. Some 20 minutes later, here we have Act 1 finally spread out, and it's a little more complex and filled out than I was expecting. So it took the entire meter and a half of this board, and the damn stickers are falling off, so it's pissing me off, but at least something. And so just to explain. So the yellow sticky notes are like the big structure. The orange ones are plot points relating to Peter only. The purple ones are the ones that are relating to Aurora only. And the green ones are either big beats or something that relates to both of them. Honestly, kind of happy with this. There are some things I'm not sure about and could be what did I say about the sticky notes falling? Okay, anyway. Yeah, some of those pieces could be reversed, but so far I am happy with this. Honestly, I really need only Act 1 to be really solid for now, because that will be the goal for the rest of this year. So I could just have some sort of skeleton outline for Act 2 and 3. And I am hesitant to do this because of how Draft 1 ended up with exactly this approach, so we will see. Act 2 has been added. More sticky notes are falling and making me increasingly angry, but I think this is quite good progress. Let's see if I can finish Act 3 before I need to get ready to go to work. But like, as you can see down here in Act 2 Part 2, there are a few beats missing where I'm still not sure what answers to put in there. But at least Act 2 Part 1 is somewhat solid. I'm starting to be scared of how much of Act 2 needs to be actually rewritten anew, but that's a problem for another time. At this point, I want to cry out of frustration because I'm spending the last 20 minutes not even plotting Act 3, but picking up the stupid sticky notes that keep falling off. So, I am wrapping it up here. I know that Act 3 still needs fleshing out, especially at the end, but if I see one more sticky note fall, I'm going to lose my shit and turn into a dragon myself. So I am done with this nonsense and time to step away. I am actually really shocked that the... Okay, scratch that, yeah, one fell. Well, hello and welcome to the Halloween special. So the outline is mostly done, at least the one that's on the sticky notes. I should move it to Scrivener and like fill out all of the plot points and more, but that could be done either later or on the way, because I still do have quite a solid idea in my mind, and so that's not fully necessary. But I guess it scares me a little bit to leave it down like that. Either way, since this is the last day of October, I can say that my goal has been successfully accomplished in figuring out the outline by the end of this month. And yes, I am feeling ready to start on draft 2 tomorrow for November. The next goal is to get Act 1-ish done by the end of the year, but that might be a little too ambitious, let's say, with the pace I usually can go at and the length of Act 1. Yes, it's the one with the least amount of change necessary, but that doesn't mean no change. So, there are questions. But for now, I think that will be it. I think you have seen enough of the outline and all the issues that there are. So, yeah.